Hey guys, and welcome to another video. For those of you who might not know, for the past year and a half or so I've been casting League of Legends for local events, tournaments, and some friends tournaments as well. And while by no means I'm not a professional League of Legends caster, I thought I might share some of the things that I wish someone would have told me when I first started. And by the way, I did check for videos like this one, and while I did find some talking about casting, I didn't find a video like this one, so I thought I'd make this one with the tips and tricks I learned along the way. If you have any questions about this video, or maybe how it's been like casting for me or why I do it, then I'll be streaming every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central European Time, so you can drop by my stream and check it out and ask me there. Links will be in the description below. So first of all, in every League of Legends cast you're going to have two main roles. The first one is the color caster and the second one is the play-by-play caster. Now you can have any variation of this casting. You usually have either a solo caster who is doing both roles, duo casting you have one doing the play-by-play and one doing the color, or a trio when usually you have one play-by-play and two color casters, because getting more than one play-by-play can get a little tricky and weird. So usually you'll either see a duo with 1 and 1 or a trio with one play-by-play and two color casters. Each role has a different job during the cast, so this video will be about the color casting, but I will make a follow-up video about the play-by-play caster, and I will also make another video with general tips for solo casting, duo or trio casting, and general tips for both color casting and play-by-play. So if you're interested in that, be sure to subscribe to my channel to be notified next time I upload a video. The color caster job is to feed the viewers information about the game that they are watching during the game's downtime. So for example, champ select, laning phase, and mid game between fights. In order to be good at color casting, you need to know what you're talking about. So in League of Legends it means you need to know what patch you're on, what got buffed, what got nerfed, which champions are strong right now, which are weak, why certain champions now seeing rise in playability when they didn't get any changes. Maybe it's some synergy with the item that got changed into the runes, or an opponent that was really good against them getting nerfed. You need to know all of these things. If you're casting a tournament, you need to know what are the standings, which teams are fighting for first and which are fighting to get out of the qualifiers. In general, you need to know the ins and outs of the game and the teams that you are casting. So usually the beginning of a cast for League of Legends start with the champ select, and at this point you don't need to talk about every champion that is being picked or banned, because the viewers can see that themselves on their screens. Instead, try talking about a specific pick. Why do you think it's important? Why it's strong? Why it's weak? Why it's good? Why it's bad? Try and speculate what picks and bans you think will come up next and why do you think they will come. When the champ select is over or getting close to the point of being over, you should start looking at each team's comp as a whole. Start talking about what their game plan should be, what are the strong lanes, what are the weak lanes for each team, what lanes are favorable for each jungler to gank, and start talking about which team do you think have a better draft and why do you think so.
Rogue has been all about building very strong teamfight teams. He's already played 3 of his 4 games so far on that Aphelios. So when you've got an Ornn next to it, you have the engage, you have the item upgrades, you've got the scaling. Rogue are going to try to weather the storm early on and beat G2 in the teamfights.
And we have seen that Kalista can struggle when we get to later portions of fights. You know, she can put a lot of spears into you, but if she's not ahead, she's not really putting that damage down. G2 will put a Nautilus by her side in the bottom lane. I will, quickly before you jump in, Ender, say that Perkz has played Kalista twice in Season 9.
Right.
100% win rate on the champ.
It looks good, especially when G2 played through bot. You know, Jankos has been all about Rek'Sai and Lee Sin. On blue side with a power bot lane, I think it's got to be the Rek'Sai here for Jankos. You know, G2 already sort of saying they want to pop off around 1 and 2 items here and shut down Hans Sama, a player who has been so pivotal for this Rogue lineup. You know, he feels like he's got this, you know, resurgence of confidence again, going for these crazy flashes, tower dives, the works. You guys have all seen the highlight reels just out of 4 games of footage so far this split. So G2's goal is going to be to shut him down.
you load into the game and it starts. So usually in League of Legends the early game is kinda slow, and it's your job as the colorcaster to make it not boring for the viewers to watch. For starters, try talking about the runes. If a player took an unorthodox rune, try to talk about it and speculate maybe why he did so. So for example, if someone picks Ahri or Veigar with Glacial Augment, explain what Glacial Augment is, how it synergizes with items like Twin Shadows and GLP, and then explain why it's good on these champions but not other champions. So in this case, Ahri and Veigar both have enough damage to solo kill someone, they just need to make sure they lock them down. So the Glacial Augments helps them in ensuring they will CC their target down, and then they are able to kill them. And they have enough damage in their kits, so they don't need the Electrocute or the Arcane Comet. Now for me, I have this method of looking at the screen to make sure I don't miss anything. I divide the screen to 3 parts. The first part is the top part, where you have the gold difference, the tower difference, the Drake each teams have, the kill score, as well as the timer for the game. The second part is the minimap, where you can see the vision each team has, the objectives that are up, and where each champion is. The third and final part is at the bottom of the screen, where you have the scoreboard indicating how much CS each player has, their KD and their items, and after you toggle it you can see the amount of gold they have on themselves right now and the total gold they gained this game. Try and make a habit for yourself to rotate between these 3 parts to look at anything interesting that is happening and then mentioning it. For example, look at the top part. If one team has a 1.5k gold lead while they're behind one tower, then try explaining how this discrepancy happened, because one would assume that the team with the tower would also have the gold lead. Doing so helps the viewer who might not notice this fact understand that one team is starting to pull ahead, and it also helps you start to build a narrative for the game. Let's say in this example the team with the 1.5k gold lead keeps pulling ahead, and you mention it every once in a while. Then when the game is nearing the end, you can use it to tell the story of how the team got a 1.5k gold lead and then took control of the game and never backed down, growing the gold lead to 2k, then 3, then 5, then winning the game. Or, in case the opposing team makes a comeback, use it to amplify what just happened and the journey that the team made in order to make the comeback. Then you can say something along the lines of, they had a rough start. It started with a 1.5k gold disadvantage that has grown into a 10k gold disadvantage, but they didn't give up. No, they clawed the way back to victory and got the win that they needed. The final possibility is if the game is close and keeps going back and forth. So in this example you can say something like, at 15 minutes blue team had a 1.5k gold lead, but then 20 minutes came and red team got a great fight which put them 2k ahead. Now at 22, blue team with another comeback, getting the gold back but just to a merely 1000 gold advantage. Now what will happen in 25 minutes or 30 minutes? Will blue team seize control of the game, or will we see red team come back once again for a great game?
G2, well, they had a very strong early game. Their mid-game, perhaps a slight decision-making problem at the Baron, but once again they find their form, they find their fight, and they will find their 3rd win here in summer.
Now these examples are a bit simplified, but they do follow the general direction of how you want to try and use the top part that we made. You shouldn't talk about it every other sentence, because then it gets dull and annoying, but rather sprinkle it between fights and after a big change happened to let the viewers know which team is ahead and by just how much. Also, remember to talk about how deep into the game you are. A 10k gold lead at 20 minutes is huge, but at 50 or 60 minutes, where most of the champions have a full build, or at least should have, it's less relevant. When you're nearing 20 minutes, you should also try and talk about Baron and Baron prep, which team has advantage and how the teams are probably setting vision around it, and if not, maybe someone can sneak it. Now for the minimap part. You would want to look at the minimap to see where each team has wards. This will not only tell you what their general plan is, but also where the action is likely to happen. If a team wants to take an objective, they will usually ward it beforehand to make sure they have the control and the enemy team doesn't have vision. Then, after a small dance of going back and forth, they will go and take the objective. If, on the other hand, a team wants to set up a split push, they will first have to set up vision around the split push area to make sure that the split pusher doesn't get caught while pushing. In addition to that, it also tells you where a team doesn't have vision, which is where they might get caught while making a rotation from one lane to the other or from one lane to objective. During laning phase and mid game, you can also use the minimap to track the junglers of each team and see where they are looking to gank, where they might find each other, and where we might get the action. In general, you'll want to use the information gathered from the minimap to do one of two things. You'll either want to tell the viewers directly what's going on, so for example you'll say, now if you look at a minimap right now, you'll see that blue team has zero vision around the Baron, which means that if they want to contest it, they'll have to phase check in it, which means they might get caught. Or you can use it to try and speculate what will happen in the next few minutes, and then if it happens, you look very smart. For example, you see both junglers start at the bot side and path pretty much the same way towards the top side. It is likely that they will meet somewhere during this time, either at the scatter or while they try to execute a gank. So you can say something along the lines of, well, I have a feeling we might get some action around top side soon, maybe around the scatter or a lane when someone tries to gank it. Now again, these examples are general and really simplified because each game of League of Legends is really different from the other, so you can't really expect what is going to happen, but these are the general things you want to look out for while looking at the minimap. Now, the third and final part of the screen that you're looking at is the bottom part where you have the scoreboard, and what you're looking for there are big CS differences, KDA, and how those two contribute into an individual gold difference in the lane specifically, in one lane specifically, as well as how the gold difference translates into item difference. If one ADC got a kill and has a 40 CS lead on his opponent, then mention it and how it translates into a gold difference and item difference. Then use this information to set up a course of action for his team and how they want to play around him. Also, if one player just got a double kill and has a massive CS advantage but he haven't recalled yet, you can point it out and say that even though he has the lead, at the very moment they're kind of equal in gold because it doesn't translate into an item difference. So this is the time where his opponent looks to try and even it out before he backs and becomes way stronger. An example of how to use the information in the third part is saying, the Ezreal just finishes Trinity Force, his Manamune is soon evolving to a Muramana, and he's really strong at the moment, so his team really needs to play around him right now when he's strong, when he's this big. You should try and rotate between looking at the three things that I just told you, and when something important changes at one of them, mention it. It is your job as the colorcaster to speculate what each team wants to do, what their perspective is, and try and evaluate their position in the early and mid game in order to set up for a late game full of action. It's okay to be wrong about your speculation and your prediction because at the end of the day, this game is played by humans, not robots, so there's room for outplays and mistakes, and you can't predict that. Just make sure to mention why you were wrong and what changed. And if you were right about your prediction, then be proud of yourself. Now, if you're not solo casting, it's important to realize when a fight is about to start so you can set it up quickly and let the play-by-play caster take the wheels. The best way to see and predict a fight is about to come is to just cast a lot of games and then you sort of get a feel for it. But if you're just starting and you don't know, then try looking for big cooldowns on each team being up or down, like flashes and ults, as well as Dragon and Baron spawning. And of course, if you see teams grouping up in one lane, they're probably gonna fight soon. Sometimes though, an unpredictable flash will come which will start a fight 0 to 100. When that happens, you don't have much to do. Just make sure you stop talking about what it is you were talking about and let the play-by-play caster shine. It's their moment. Like with a lot of other abilities, the best way to improve your shoutcasting ability is to just practice it a lot, as well as showing it to your friends and family and rewatching your own cast to see what you did good, what you did bad, and how to improve for the next time. So this was a very in-depth guide on how to colorcast and improve on it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them down at the comments below, and also you can come ask me when I stream live. I do stream at Twitch at every Wednesday 7 PM Central European time and some unscheduled streams, so you can come follow me on Twitch to be notified next time I go live. Links to that will be in the description below. As I said at the start of the video, I will make 2 more videos regarding this subject about how to play-by-play cast and some general tips on how to cast with other people, solo cast, and just general tips. So if you're interested in that, make sure to subscribe to my channel to be notified next time I upload that video. And again, I'm not a professional caster, but these are the things that I just picked up from when I started to where I'm at now, and hopefully it maybe will help one of you guys at starting and becoming a caster. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I'll see you all in the next one. So for now guys, bye bye.